Here we go once again with another edition of the Mixdowns, DJ to DJ. I'm your man, Fernando G. As always, you know we bring in dope DJs and producers to talk about how they got started and what's popping in the future for them. Well, today is no exception because we got the one and only 220 Kid. What up, my brother? How are you, man?
How you doing? I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time and chatting it up, you know?
Of course, of course. No, I'm excited to be here.
You got it. You got it. So I got to start off with something that, I was like, oh, no way. Which
I know where this is going.
Yep, you know exactly where it's going. Now, I grew up in the 70s. That's when I discovered DJing, you know. And so back in the day, disco was king and the whole nine yards. And it turns out that your dad managed the Bee Gees.
Yeah, one of them he did. Yeah, Robin.
Was it Barry or
Robin?
Robin.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So he toured with them, and we all lived together in a converted old monastery.
Oh my gosh. So you actually live with him?
Yeah. Growing up until I was about 18.
Wow. That's insane, dude. That just like the Bee Gees. You have no idea what the Bee Gees did for me growing up as a kid. Yeah. I discovered music when I was a little boy at 5 years old and stuff, but in the 70s with the Bee Gees, I was like, wow, that was dope, man. Now, did this influence you to get into music, this relationship you had with them?
It actually influenced me to get into music management. My dad was like training me as a manager. And I would like go work with him, travel with him, learn the ropes. And I just wanted to do management. I didn't know I could make music. And then I was working as a carpenter for Dell Computers, like touring around the world with them.
Oh
And
my
I just
God.
kind of had this like feeling in my stomach. I was like, I got to try music. Like, I think music is what I need to try. So I read an article by Calvin Harris on the plane. And it said, every time I fly, I make music. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to make music. And I had this like cracked out laptop and just had GarageBand on it. And started working on there and making songs on GarageBand, which was kind of funny because one of those songs actually ended up being a song I made for Gorgon City. So they released like a song with GarageBand in it, which is like the basic pre-Logic thing.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, and that's just where I started. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go all out. And I quit my job and worked odd jobs to survive, but I was all in on music every day for like 7 years.
That's wild, bro. That's wild. So you
Yeah.
started in GarageBand, and what DAW are you using now?
Logic.
Logic. Yeah, same
Yeah.
here. I started with Cubase back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, and then graduated to GarageBand, and literally just 2 years ago upgraded to Logic. I was just stuck on GarageBand. I'm one of
Yeah.
those people that takes me a little while to transition and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I still have no idea what I'm doing. Like I just make like such random things and I'm like, oh, that would sound good. Like running vocals through guitar amps and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And everyone
You
then when I send it to like be mixed, they're like, what are you doing?
that's the cool thing because I'm finding that a lot of producers like yourself, as they're growing and building their repertoire, they're actually doing a lot of experimentation that other
Mm.
producers are not. They're just kind of, almost like on a cookie cutter basis to where they already know it. They're in and out, boom, boom, boom. But like yourself, you're saying I'm running vocals through something else that is not the norm.
Yeah, I think it comes from it starts with a naivety, I think. And when you come into like more into the writing space and working in sessions and stuff, everyone wants to stick to the rules, but I think like the first 220 Kids song came from working with a waitress who was like, I dreamt I had this idea and she WhatsApp voice noted it to me and I created it and made it into a song and I sent it to Pete Tong, which then gave me like my first break. But I think it's so easy to get stuck in things have to be this way when they don't. Like I saw an interview with John Summit yesterday and he's like, Deep End was out of key. I'm like, yeah, like I think we get given so many rules, but if you have too many rules, where's the experimentation and where's art? Like
Exactly.
art is about breaking rules and the soul of the song is always the most important bit than the what's correct.
Yeah. And to me that kind of resonates a lot. My wife is a graphic designer and she, took art in school and stuff like that. And there's a lot of time we love going to, museums and stuff. And a lot of times we see art and I'm looking at certain things and I'm like, I don't get this, like, you
Yeah.
see these paintings and stuff and you're like, what the heck is that? But then, she starts talking about, oh, well, they have to follow these certain rules and things like that. But I'm like, but wait a minute, what do you mean rules? And it's
Yeah.
like, if you start painting something, you're doing what's inside your head, what your imagination is bringing out. I don't
Mhm.
see that there's rules. And I think that also applies with music, that when you
100%.
start, adding those layers and stuff, you could just go off the deep end, forget the
Yeah,
rules.
and I think like one of the greatest modern songs that was released was like that Jai Paul Jasmine song. It was never mixed. It was an absolute mess.
Right.
Wow, it made you feel something. And
Exactly.
I think the greatest, all the greatest artists were crazy until people decided to put a price tag on it. Like every kind of part of art is crazy until it makes the right people feel something. But I think what's great about art is and music is you can meet someone who's done nothing, but it can make you feel something.
Hmm.
So what's the difference then between them and someone like a multi-platinum selling artist or Vincent van Gogh? Like, if it makes you feel something, it's art, and that's what's exciting, and that's kind of like the essence, I think, to life. It's like sometimes you look outside and you look at how the plants are and the birds and the flowers, and you're like, that's art to me because it's given an emotional response.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And
too
it
many
goes back
rules.
to the old, I'm sorry, it goes back to the old saying of beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Or in the ears of the beholder.
right there you go.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you now, obviously you had this relationship with renowned artists and stuff like that. Now, prior, you said you had other jobs and things like that. And I understand that you had like a bachelor's degree in
Yeah.
sciences or something like that. And I
Yeah.
mean, obviously there was some sort of musical influence there. But had you already had, like, did you understand how to produce music? Did you know instruments? Nothing.
No, no, no. I knew nothing about it. Because I'm like dyslexic and dyspraxic. My coordination's terrible. So for me to sit and learn is a nightmare, and like ADHD as well. So it's a real pickle for me to do anything. So I have to learn by experimentation, and in the experimentation, it excites me. So
Right. Right.
um, I first, I just always had this feeling in my stomach I wasn't following my like destiny. And this is kind of like hippie, but I got a bus back from Paris one night. It was a 24-hour bus, and I sat next to this guy. And he was like, "You should read this book, The Alchemist, and it talks about your destiny and following your destiny and how if you don't listen to the opportunities that life presents you for your destiny, it'll take it away." So I was like, "All right, I got a well-paying job. I'm 25, like I'm set, but it doesn't make me feel anything. So I'm gonna throw it all away." And my mum was like, "You are an idiot," but I'm like, "No, you have to." I think, and then when I started doing music, the feeling left, and I felt like I was on the right path. And one thing I've always backed myself with is that I might not be the most talented and I might not be the best at something, but I know that I'll outwork someone and I'll work for longer. And that I always go by like the mantra where it's like if you're the last one left, you have to succeed because there's no one else left. Like it has to be me. So I was just like,
Exactly.
I'll keep going and eventually I'll have my moment. And
That's
I'll pick
awesome.
up some skills and learn. And yeah, I didn't know how to write a song, but then in that journey, I understood my strength was actually like songwriting and lyric writing. But you don't know unless you try, unless you really go down that route.
Exactly. That comment right there. You don't know unless you try. And
Hmm.
I hate being the wonder what if, guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What if I had done this? What if I had, produced this song and stuff?
Hmm.
Um, and I preach that to my kids all the time. Don't be
Yeah.
the what if guy. I mean,
Because
take
you'll
a
be
chance.
like, I always say it's like 2 years is going to happen. Whatever happens, you will get to 2 years. So you might as well have done the stuff in that time than the stuff you didn't want to do.
There you
Like,
go.
we're going to get to our deathbed one day and you can be rich and miserable, or you could have done everything you wanted to do, or you could be broke and miserable. There's so many ways, but it's like you might as well have tried everything you wanted to try. Like, life
Exactly.
isn't such a linear, organized pattern that people think. You can completely mix it up and throw it on its head at any point you want.
Exactly. The thing is just to keep trying. I think that,
Yeah.
regardless if you fail, all right, so you failed at one thing. You know what? You go on to the next one and just keep going. I mean, you hear the stories of like Walt Disney and how he got his start and,
Mhm.
failed at so many things before he decided to draw a mouse. So it's like, dude, freaking mouse changed his life.
Yeah, but you just never know. Everyone overcomplicates everything. Hey, it's fun. It's like buying lottery tickets every day,
Yeah.
and eventually they're gonna pay off. Like
Eventually,
being
right?
artistically satisfied is I think, and you just have to just try it because there's someone out there who's a lot less talented than you succeeding in doing what you want just because they were brave enough to try.
Yeah, that's the it. You just got to take that chance. All right, so your name, obviously, we were talking offline as to the names that are popping out for producers and
Mhm.
DJs and stuff. Now, the way you came up with it was kind of unique. Why don't you tell us that little story there?
I ran 220 miles for charity. So in like the
Wow.
same month, my godfather and one of my mates died, and I was just like, and this was around the time I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like, I've got to do something. I'm being lazy. Like, let me just go do a charity event. It must have been way to process grief. And I was like, so the Bee Gees sold 220 million albums because Robin had died. And I was like, let me just go run. I'm going to run 220 miles. I was like, I haven't trained. My dad's in a car. So it's just me and my dad. I ran 9 marathons in 7 days. My dad was following me along. He'd meet me at checkpoints. Sometimes he'd miss the checkpoint, so I wouldn't have any water or anything because I was just in pink Y fronts to raise more money. And
Wow.
but there was some point in that run where like my body just relaxed and switched off, and I went through like the pain barrier, and it was like you can do anything. And so that's like my strong number, like 220 is like anything is possible. So then I applied it to being my artist, where it's like my body was not built because I didn't really train. My body was not built to run that distance, but my mind took over. So, sometimes your skill set isn't built to do what you're meant to do in music, but let your mind take over and go through the pain and go through the disappointment. And your mind will take you where the rest of you doesn't want to go.
Yeah. You actually manifested it
Yeah,
through just doing it.
being stubborn.
That's wow. That's crazy. That's an interesting story, dude. So, how many marathons in how many days?
Nine in 7 days.
Dang, dude, you must have been exhausted, bro.
Well, that's why I think there's like higher powers. I was fine the day after. I had a sleep.
Really?
I didn't get one blister, and then I was like, cool, I feel good. It was so peculiar. It should never have, it was just like there's something, whether it's the spirits of the people who've gone or I don't know, but I was just up the next day, like, yeah, I feel good.
That's wild.
I
That's wild.
know.
So you now you started producing before you started DJing, correct?
Yeah. So I had my first hit was in the first week of lockdown.
Oh,
And then had like another hit and a couple of other big records. And then lockdown finished, and they were like, "We need you to come play 20,000 people." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" So I had to learn to DJ. And then I played like in one weekend, I played four shows. Three of them were to like 15, 20,000 each. And then another one was on national UK radio. So it was just like a whirlwind. But again, just had to face it, get on with it.
wow.
Yeah,
Now, and when you start seeing that success just starting to happen, just starting to pop out, what was that like?
overwhelming. I had a good therapist at the time because it was very overwhelming.
Oh my gosh.
But even with the records, because I worked for 7 years to do it, but then I was in my bedroom because it was COVID, and I was just like, oh, I've just beat Harry Styles as the top 10 in the UK, but I'm just sat in my bedroom in my pants, like, oh, this is what success feels like.
Dude, man, that's huge. And now was this which was the one that you did with Gracie? That was Don't
Don't
Need
need
Love.
love.
Don't
Yeah,
Need
yeah.
Love, yeah. I like that one. That was pretty dope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the one that broke through. That was the one. No one wanted to sign that for 2 years, and then the right time came and it popped off, which is again, don't give up.
Yeah. I find that interesting about the music industry is that you can write a song and then a few years later somebody says, "Oh, that's pretty cool. That's dope. Let's pick it up." And then boom, and you're like, "Dude, that's like 2 years old. It's already,
Yeah.
I'm on, song 57, from my first one,
Is
and yet they pick it up. And I discovered that back in the 80s when Information Society released I Want to Know What's on Your Mind.
okay.
And I fell in love with that song for some reason. And I discovered that it was like originally released like in 78 and it didn't hit till like 82, and I was like, whoa, So it's interesting how the cool thing about it is that now, we could do it ourselves. We can release our
Yeah.
music ourselves. We can, create our own labels and stuff like that. And we don't have to depend on the big corporations. Now, you mentioned earlier that you sent songs out to different artists and producers and DJs and stuff like that, and now you've worked with many of them. You've
Yeah.
released all kinds of remixes. How did that come about? I mean, was it just you sending demos or?
It's a mixture really. My manager at the time, like the song I did for Gorgon City called Oxygen, which is it turns out it's like my third biggest song. I didn't realize it's like my like it's really like it gets played a lot and stuff. Was I just sent it to her and she sent it to Gorgon City without telling me. Like the song I did with Becky Hill, we were just texting and that was the start of COVID. All I had in my room was because I just been through a breakup, so I had to move out. And I had a mattress, two speakers I've been gifted, and my laptop on the floor. And I made that song, sent it to Becky Hill. She recorded it, and then it went on her album.
That's
Um,
huge.
yeah, I guess it's just through contacts and stuff. Like it's funny because the first festival I ever went to, I saw MK play, and that's where I was
Mm.
like, and that was like 2013. I was like, wow, I want to be a DJ. And I said to my friend, I was a little bit inebriated. I go, I'm going to be a DJ, and he's like, you're in your 20s. No, you're not. And now like me and MK send ideas back and forth, and like I've remixed him, so it's kind of like full circle moment. But
That's dope.
I think the power of the internet is you can message people. Like in COVID, I got a phone call and it was like I was like hello, and it's like oh hi, it's Tiesto. I was like what?
Dude. Dude.
And he's just like I love your music. And I was like thank you.
That's huge, bro. That is huge. I love that.
Yeah, right.
Now it seems like I think as bad as COVID was, it definitely helped a lot of us get
Mm,
creative.
mm,
I remember I was, all my buddies and stuff here in LA, we were bored, so we all start streaming and we start doing our things, and then, we're everybody's playing the same thing over and over, and my wife's all like, play something different, everybody's playing that, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna start chopping this stuff up,
yeah,
and I just started, boom, doing my own edits and stuff, going crazy. Next thing you know, what people are messaging me, bro, where'd you get that edit? Where, can I get a copy? This and that. I'm like, yeah,
right.
and that sparked because I hadn't produced literally. The last time I had produced anything was prior to COVID. Was literally shit. 2001. you know
Wow.
yeah, that was it. I had given up. I had gone behind the scenes of radio. I wasn't on air. I wasn't doing mixed shows or anything like that. I got married, had the
Mm,
kids, and so things had changed. And then during COVID, it sparked my creativity again. I'm like, I got to go back at this, and started
yeah.
doing it again. Literally starting
Awesome.
from scratch. And that's why I tell you that's why I started using Logic. Just recently because of that. So you got new works. You got a full album coming out. Or is it
Yeah.
out already? I'm
It
sorry.
came out on Friday.
On Friday. That's
And,
right.
it's crazy. It took me 5 years to get it out, so it's been emotional. It's been amazing. Yeah, it's just I feel it was because once you have some success, all these people close in and tell you who you have to be and what music you have to make, and they take you away from exactly who you are.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what, I'm fed up with this. I left my label. I like walked away from other offers and stuff, and left management. And then I'd just written this album, and there was like a ballad song I wrote about my mum after she passed away, and I was like, how
Mm.
can I put out a ballad as a dance artist? And I was like, you build an album around it, so you can sneak it out in the middle.
There you go.
So that's what I did, and then it's funny because I would go to a label, and they're like, yeah, we want to sign it, but then they wanted to do like a Bee Gees remix because they knew my connection,
Mm.
so they would like crowbar that into the deal. I'm like, I'm not signing this. So I actually just sent my album to Kygo's manager, and I was like, I think we have a similar sound. I want to put it out. And he goes, yeah, we love it. We'll stick it on our label straight away. And I was like, cool. So I put it out through Palm Tree,
Nice.
and they've been amazing. They let me make the music I want to make and put out the songs I want to do, and full support, which is very rare nowadays, like to have A&R control. And it was kind of this project was for me, like no one else. And I was like, if it succeeds on my terms, I'm happy. But if I fail on my terms, I'm happy as well because this is being authentic. And I think in a world where everyone's profit driven, to be authentic can be very difficult.
Yeah, yeah, and that I think that's the important thing, that you have to be true to yourself
Hmm.
and your creativity, which is cool. And I'm glad you stepped away from doing a Bee Gees edit of that. I love the Bee Gees, man, but you got to be you, man.
Can't do
Well,
it
listen,
justice. So
we've come to the end of our segment here. I really appreciate you coming in, Will, and chatting it up with me. Please give our listeners your socials, your info, where they can reach you, where they can get your tour dates and all that fun stuff.
yeah, it's 220 Kid across all socials. 220 Kid on Spotify. New album's called Yellow Butterflies. It's got a great selection of like really cool feature artists and different sounds. The lead single's called Now the Love Is Gone, which just come out, and that's like a nod to like some piano house UK vibes,
Love it.
like country influence. We've got a lot of stuff on there. It's just kind of, yeah. It's you can listen to it as a whole, you can take parts out of it, but yeah, it's something for everyone, I think, in the dance world and
That's
outside
awesome.
the dance world.
Appreciate you, brother. Well, listen, thanks again for coming through. And of course, you that's tuning in and watching right now, don't forget that you'll be able to catch one of his mixes here real soon on the Mixdown on Vibe 99.7. And of course, you can stream that wherever you enjoy your podcasts as well. And don't forget, Mixdown goes off every Friday and Saturday night on vibefm.vegas and Vibe 99.7 in Las Vegas. And yeah, man, a lot of good stuff, man. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. 220 Kid, appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you so much.